We're back with another video that is specifically about design things for authors. This month I have set up as one of my goals to up my social media game because I'm not being really good at it in general. I've sort of neglected it. At some point I decided to reset what used to be a Bookstagram account into my author Instagram account, and I did that literally in June 2023. So it's been like almost a year. There you go. That's the post in question, dated June 2023. And you can sort of see how little I have to scroll in order to find that first post. It's right there, and this is the top row. So there's Instagram, and then there's also TikTok, which I have sort of avoided like the plague because I am terrified of it. I feel like TikTok comments tend to be the same level as what we used to have on YouTube maybe 10 years ago. It's a hot mess. There are trolls everywhere. It reaches sometimes the wrong audience, and I think that's what scares me the most, and one of the reasons why I haven't really been very good at making any when it comes to my author platform. I'm also not currently a published author. I haven't self-published anything yet either, therefore I haven't really felt the urgency, the need to put myself out there on social media to try and sell my books at all. So why do I want to up my social media game if I'm not published yet? Well, first of all, I think it's fun. There are a lot of things that you can do that are generally fun to explore your characters or your stories in a different way. Second, I think it's a really good exercise in trying to sell and pitch your books and your ideas and your concepts. I would also love to establish a sort of maybe base audience for when I do have any books that are published, whether it's going to be traditionally published or self-published. And then finally, I'm also in the process of querying one of my books, The Art of Summoning Demons. So back to that discourse about authors have to market themselves a lot more nowadays, even if they go down the traditionally published route. I think agents do look a little bit at whether you do have a social media presence. Therefore, I thought might as well be ahead of the game and try to start now. All that to say that today I want to look at making some more social media posts, and by social media I mean Instagram. And the thing I love is things like mood boards, things that are just very imagery based. I don't love writing a really long post to explain what is in the image, and I don't really believe people read those fully, even if it might be good for the algorithm. So I need my images to speak 1,000 words for me. Okay, so this is what I'm currently working with. If you've seen other videos that I've done before on designing for authors, you may know this program called Figma. There's a lot of things that you can do with Figma that you can absolutely do with things like Canva. Figma is also free though, so if you ever wanted to pick up a program that is more for designers, then I would definitely recommend it. You can pay for the premium version if you want to have like publishable content that you can share with clients and things like that, but you can absolutely do everything that I'm going to do with a free version, and I am in fact using the free version. So this is one of the posts that I had worked on a little bit before, where I was sort of talking about all of my projects, my current whips, including The Art of Summoning Demons, Lockhart and Beckett, Space Princess Project, and Knights of Death, and sort of in details, you know, it's a series, it's urban fantasy, it's young adult, new adult, it's Netflix Sabrina meets Buffy meets Ninth House, and I'm currently querying the first book. I have bullet points of the second book, and I am planning for maybe a trilogy, which I actually need to get rid of because I'm pretty sure that I'm just going to plan for a duology instead. So I had done something like this for each of my books. And later on, this is a post I recently posted, which is Meet the Writer. So this was a post where I just wanted to introduce myself a little bit more, almost as a new way of restarting this Instagram. So I did a little post about myself, where I had something about my roots, the fact that I'm from Belgium and France, you know, the cities I have lived in, the music I listen to, the books I read, and then the writing, sort of mood board representing the type of writing that I gravitate towards. So essentially this was inspired by Katie, who has done a similar post herself, and I just really wanted something cute and just mood boardy. So this is what I ended up with. Now, you might notice that there's a little bit of branding going on and that you may recognize some of the colors. What I had been doing before is working on in a very basic manner, my YouTube brand, which was already sort of established. Like, I had already decided on some core colors that I was going to reuse. A little logo that has a little animation going on in my intro theme, and the colors that I reuse later on at the back, at the end as well of each video. But I didn't need much for this, and I didn't really need more contrasting colors or anything of the sort. I only needed those basics, because recently I've been working on potentially a website as well, that I wanted to make as an author and just have a little bit of a platform that is mine and not a social media platform. I had a little look around at a logo mark, and then some more contrasting colors, and just expanding the color palette based on the one that I started with here. So sort of like utilizing some of these colors like that purple and that yellow, but then combining them with a darker or lighter shade. And then just having a little look at typography, fonts in general, just ones that I could use easily. That would be, I think they're Google fonts, so they're free to download and to use. So that's all I really wanted, something that was going to be easy and no faff. And I didn't really think too much further than this. I knew that I really enjoyed the elegance of having this kind of serif font that can give you like a beautiful display title when it's in italics. And I also liked something more playful and rounded and friendly, because that is very representative of my YouTube brand. So I wanted a combination of both, which is why I went ahead with Fredoka and Newsreader as the fonts. But that's for the very, very basic of a branding. I would just recommend, if you have, maybe a couple of fonts, typefaces that you gravitate towards, that you might see a lot on Canva or something that you tend to use, stick to them. Try not to change them too often. And if you have some colors that you feel like represent you, it's always just a good idea to have colors that work well together, that look beautiful when you place them next to each other, but also colors that have a bit of contrast. So you can play around with a light background and a darker color for the type, or for drawings on top, or whatever it is you need, so that as long as you have a bit of contrast between your colors, you're fine. Again, you don't have to stick to this, and no, not everyone needs a brand. I just find that consistency sometimes looks nicer, and when it comes to Instagram, it's a lot about the looks. So I did this using sort of those principles. So this is my red for my brand. On Figma, you can prep your styles, so you can be like, say I like this color and I want to make it part of my brand. I can just go, this is the fill and this is the color that I've used. So I can, grab the color here, like I think it was from this actually. And then I can just go on those little dots. This is my libraries. So these are the colors that I use all the time. So they're essentially the ones that are part of my brand. So I can create a new one, call it something like, say this is orange, create style, and now this is in there. And so I can reuse this. So this is a second post that, as I'm filming, I haven't posted yet, but I think I might have posted it when this video will come out, where I wanted to introduce my characters from The Art of Summoning Demons, because that's the one I'm currently querying. So I'm back into the trenches, and therefore I wanted to talk a little bit about that book specifically. I decided to do a little mood board per character. This is just the girls so far. So we've got Olive, and her tones are very red, and she is a redhead, so it sort of works nicely as well. We have Fran, who has more yellow-ish tones, and then we have Kaz, who's very pink and purplish. These are her tones. So I worked around with, again, some of my typefaces and my colors. So this is my red, this is Newsreader, this is the yellow that I use, and this is the pink that I use in my brand. This background color is the purple that I use in my brand, etc. So this is why it's nice to have some contrast in colors, because this black and red work really nicely together, for instance. But you can absolutely play around a little bit and stray away from your brand. As long as there's elements of it somewhere, it still looks recognizable. So The Art of Summoning Demons is not a typeface that is in my brand, but I just really like it for this specific title. So I think it works nicely within the brand. So now that I've explained everything, we're gonna do another post together. So I'm just gonna grab a new frame. I'm gonna start from scratch so you can sort of see me work in it. I'm gonna grab a new frame. So this is the frames, and I have here, you know, a list of all the frames. Normally it's closed. If I go to social media, I can go to Instagram post, click on it, and it creates a frame. I put it over there, but I can move it. So I'm just gonna move it over here. Nice. And I will start working with this. I like having this sort of format where I have a little bit of an introduction to what this post is about, and then I plunge into each of them. So for this post, I'm just gonna do something similar. I'm going in my fill. It's currently white. That's the square. So I'm just gonna go and fill it with my beige. Then I would also like to have, you know, an image in there to start off with. So I'm gonna grab my square, and I'm gonna put the square here, and I'm gonna round its corners like this, maybe like 50 is good. And I'm gonna center it in the middle of this post, but I'm gonna keep it at the bottom here. This is still going to be on the Art of Summoning Demons, so it would be nice if I can use an image that is sort of from these. So I can just go in the fill, I can click here, image, and then choose my image. So I've got different folders. In this folder where I've got some inspiration for each of my characters, I think I can grab something from Olive, who has a lot of red imagery. I actually really like this, and I feel like that's something quite nice to say this is going to be first and last lines for each character. And then I'm going to copy this type. Copy. If I click on this post and paste it, it will paste it in the same spot. Actually, I think I want it a little bit lower, and I'm gonna name it characters first, or maybe just first and last lines, maybe like this, maybe bigger, like 100. And I feel like if I'm gonna post these posts soon after each other, I might want different type of colors. So maybe instead of the beige, it should be in the black. That's actually quite nice and different. Do I want a stroke here in the red, like 3 points? Yeah, that is actually quite nice. I might make it a bit bigger, like 5. Yes, I love that. That feels a bit retro, and I feel like, I don't know, it's a cool vibe. I enjoy it. And then I want to specify that this is for the Art of Summoning Demons. This is a way bigger than I need it. I might go to my Fredoka font and make it like, this is a good size, I think. Do I want it on one line? Maybe I want it medium or even semi-bold. I quite like this. Yeah. Almost feels like an album cover. Maybe this should be beige and medium metallic and smaller, like sort of more like a little introduction. First and last lines, characters from the Art of Summoning Demons. I like it for now. I might change it later if I want to. Okay. So I now have my cover, and then I'm going to be able to start with each of the characters. So let's open my frames again, and I'll just add another one. First of all, I'm gonna grab the information I need, which is my actual first and last lines for each of these characters. I might add the full sentence, so like not just her line, but the context of it next to it. So it's a letter. Why would you receive physical mail here, of all places? I'm gonna do the same for the first line. You guys get discounts at the local photo lab or what? She said, her voice barely a croak. And then a letter? Why would she receive physical mail here, of all places? Okay, I think that's good. That's what I need. Let's make sure this is centered. And then I think what I'm gonna do is use the background of this image, of this post, to make it red. And then I'm gonna add an image on top and center it fully. I think this should be in black, maybe, we shall see. And I'm gonna send it to the back, and I'm gonna pick an image, probably from, so I go back here, choose image. I'm gonna pick an image from my inspiration folder for her and see if there's something. Oh, this could be good actually. I quite like this. That's kind of nice because it's easy to read stuff on top, and that's what I wanted. Let's center everything again. Wow, that was absolutely not centered before. And I'm gonna change the typeface. I want to do newsreader, and I want to make it italic, medium. I think medium is right. Okay. I might just see, should it be in white? I kind of like this. Yeah, I feel like it works with the overall vibe of this post so far. And I'm gonna copy and paste. You can see all of the Instagram posts and everything that is in it, always making sure that things are inside of your post, of your frame, otherwise it doesn't get exported with it. So if I select this Instagram post, I can see I now have two rectangles because I've just pasted it, and it pasted it in the exact spot right on top. Now the reason why I wanted a second post, I'm gonna get rid of the stroke on this one, and gonna get rid of this image by replacing the fill with a color. So it now is on solid. Gonna make it, I think this is fine. I need to change that to multiply. There we go. Maybe I needed the stroke actually. Oh, it's because it's inside. Yeah, so it's coloring the stroke below as well. So if I go back to this one, just put it outside, and now it appears. Okay, I think that works. I like this layout, and I can now reuse it and copy it for each character. So I'm going to do the same for Fran, for Kaz, and then maybe for some of my male characters, such as Sam, who is the male love interest. Have done Fran, Kaz, and Sam. So you've already seen Olive. Fran, I have her first line, which is, "Hey, got your coffee." She is talking to Olive, and then her last line, "He has a secret closet." Fran almost bounced out of her bed. Then Kaz, her first lines are, "Oh," said the girl in a flat tone, "didn't realize you were standing there." Except she clearly had. And then her last line is, "Fran, want to see Marlowe's secret closet?" said Kaz suddenly. Which, you know, doesn't really reveal much about what's going on, but she's clearly trying to get herself and Fran out of the room so that Miss Olive can have a little bit of alone time with Sam at some point. Which then leads me to Sam's first and last lines. So his first line is, "Miss Mathers, still want that phone call?" And his last line is, "And we still have plenty of time for you and I to get bound to each other," he whispered. "My offer still stands, now that you know what's at stake." I like this post overall, in general. I think they work all really nicely together. And I think that it still works nicely within the branding, which is another thing that I'm trying to pay attention to. So if I look at them all together, they sort of feel slightly cohesive. So that's what I wanted to achieve. So we're now done with this Instagram post. I'm feeling pretty good about myself and about having prepared content in advance, because as you can see, it takes me a hot minute to get these done, especially when it comes to mood board research. So a lot of the time, if I already have the imagery, it gets done in 5 minutes and it's fine. But if I don't have the imagery, that's the part that takes the longest for me. So very often I struggle a bit more with finding the right pictures than I do with creating the post itself. So hopefully I'm gonna keep it up and do this more often and not just in the month of April. I feel like I have come a long way from the days of not posting at all, and even just this week having posted twice, and my plan for next week is already in place. I have 2 posts, so it'll already be 2 weeks in a row that I'm doing well. I feel like a lot of the stuff that I've done and shown you as well is absolutely achievable on Canva. I think Canva is just a tool like any other. I know it gets a bad rep with actual graphic designers, which I don't really understand, because I think some of them generally use this with their clients. Like they'll create templates that they have maybe designed somewhere else, like in Figma, and then post it on Canva. And these templates can be used by the clients directly on Canva in terms of branding and things like that. So I actually think it's a great tool for most people. It's accessible, it's easy to use. It's just that I personally know how to use Figma a lot better and faster. So when I'm on Canva trying to do the same thing, I'm the one struggling because I'm just not used to the tool itself. Well, I've used Figma for a long time now, so it comes a lot more naturally. So yeah, hopefully this video was useful to you. You can sort of see how I'm trying to build a bit of branding so that I keep consistent colors, typefaces, imagery, things like that. Similarly, when it comes to the books themselves, I'm also trying to individualize the type of images that I use, so that The Art of Summoning Demons has a very specific type of mood board imagery, which is going to be quite different from, say, Space Princess Project, which, being a space opera romance, will obviously look quite different. Hopefully you can sort of see how I'm trying to compartmentalize these things and how that's helping me personally build a more consistent and useful brand. And that's it for this video. I'm going to try to again post more similar content if you like that kind of stuff. So please leave a like. That will indicate to me if you do like this type of content and will make more of it. Similarly, leave me a comment if you have any questions, if you have any requests, things like that. I always try to respond. And if you enjoy this type of content, feel free to subscribe to my channel, follow me, use the bell, all that jazz, and I will see you guys in the next one.